Let's go ahead and get started then. I am excited to be back. I was gone last week. I was at the Follow Up Boss conference, the mastermind. So if you guys are a real estate agent and you're not using Follow Up Boss, you should definitely look into it. It is an incredible program, lots of good integrations, best in class API. So definitely something to look into. As Hannah was saying, they did start the group classes. There are 8 of them. You can come to the Learn tab on our website and go to webinars and go ahead and register for any of those. So you can scroll down there and see what's available. I think they did fields this morning, and I think Hannah said they're going to do emails this afternoon or this evening. So, okay, let's get into some of these questions. Let me get back over to my dashboard. And like I said, very small group, guys. There's only like 5 people. So go ahead and fire those questions in, and I will try to tailor this to you guys. If we run out of questions and I run out of things to talk about, then we will just go ahead and end early. Okay, is there a way to move all of our information from TCWorkflow to open to close? Yes. So when you sign up for your open to close account, as you're going through that onboarding process, you are going to, the last thing on this, I think it's the last step, you're going to see something that says, do I want to migrate my information from TCWorkflow? You're going to say yes. It's going to bring over fields. It's going to basically bring over everything except for a few things. Date templates are a lot different in open to close, so you're not going to get date templates. You're going to have to recreate those. Obviously, you didn't have intake forms in TCWorkflow, so you're not going to get those. Trying to think of what else does not come over. There's a few little things that don't come over. If you're struggling, just go ahead and reach out to help at open to close. That's our support team, and they can walk you through anything that you need. A lot of times they'll provide you with a video on how to do things. So that's super helpful. If you guys have issues, make sure you're using like a extension similar to like Loom. I'm going to, let me click on that. So Loom's right here. I can start recording a video. There's me. And you can start recording a video immediately once you get in there. So let me go ahead and click off this. Okay, so anyway, Loom is a great way to send in your requests. Lauren, if you have further questions, go ahead and post them in about the migration if you have more questions on that. If not, and they come up later, just feel free to reach out to support. Like I said, it's help at open to close, or you can click on this purple button down at the bottom and you're going to be able to send in a request here.
We do have a guide to migrating your TCWorkflow content into open to close as well. I'll go ahead and share that in the in a direct message to you, Lauren, as well on here.
Yeah, so if you go to our website and go to the help guides and open that up and then type in TCWF and TCWorkflow, both of them work. In most cases, you can scroll down and figure out how to export TCWorkflow property transactions, because that's not part of the migration. So we don't bring over the transactions. The transactions are just way too different between TCWorkflow and open to close. So that's just not a possibility. But you can bring over limited data through that help menu, or that help article that I just showed you, exporting TCWorkflow property transactions. So check that out if you want to get some limited information over. Okay. I've been using for about a year, would like to know how to take our account to the next level with automations. What do you recommend I look into to take advantage of advanced features in open to close? Yeah, sure. So one of the big things that you're going to want to take advantage of, and so I'm assuming that you're task-based now. So when I go into a property, let me just search for 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see. Here we go. And I apologize for the delay. We're on Zoom, so it's going to take forever. But yeah. Oh, you know what? I might not be logged in. Hold on one second. Let me re-log in, because I am in a different account. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for 1 second. And I'm going to re-log into this. Okay, let me see if that fixed it. Okay, there we go. Let me share my screen again. Okay, can you guys see my screen, Hannah?
Nope. Yes, we see a beautiful
nope, that's not
ocean landscape.
Let me stop my share there. Great screen. That's what I was afraid of. Here we go. Okay, cool. So in your tasks, one of the things you can do to take this to the next level is in your trigger menus, right? So everyone's probably using task triggers right now. If you're not, this is definitely the first step so that you can say, when I check this task off, I want these 2 actions to happen, these 2 triggers. These 2 triggers could be a variety of things. They could be when the task is complete or when the task isn't complete. So when the task isn't complete, this could be like a contingency date. 3 days before this contingency is over, I want to send an automatic text out to my agent, or I want to review an email and send it out to my client, letting them know that they're coming up upon this. We need documents, we need information, we need whatever it is. So you have those 2 options there. And then you also have, you can send a message, send an email, send a text, add or remove templates, add or remove field sections, add or remove fields. So really cool options here to be able to say, like, when I check this task off, I want to send this email and I want to send this email. Now, do I want to send it automatically? If I do, I can flip this over to red. Just be real careful on sending automatically, because if you have a bunch of smart blocks and merge fields in here and you didn't fill everything out correctly, and this goes off automatically once you check that, it's going to be an incomplete email and you're not going to look so good. So what I recommend on emails is don't send it automatically. When I check that off, it's going to go up to the health bar. I can review that email before it goes out. But taking it to the next level is a question, and that is add a condition. So now I could say, hey, when I check this off, I want this email to go out, but I only want it to go out if I represent the buyer. Or I only want it to go out if it's a finance deal, or I only want it to go out if there's well on the property, or, a million things that you could put in there as conditions. You're not limited to one condition. You could say, if I represent the buyer and there's septic on the property and, it's pending, or whatever, you can put whatever conditions you want in here. And that's going to limit what fires when you check off that task. Now that's a first step to automating your system. Where you're really going to take it to the next level is when you get to the scale plan, you're going to be offered triggers. And actually those task conditions are on the scale plan as well. When you get the triggers, you don't need tasks so much anymore. You may have a few tasks here and there, but what you're going to get with triggers is the ability to say, I want this email to send out, and I want it to send out if a buyer exists in the property, if there's you put whatever conditions on there. As soon as those conditions are true, it's going to go to your health bar and let you know this email is ready to go out, or this text message, or, if all these conditions are met, fields can come into your transaction, or whatever you want. So it's a good way to say, like, let's just pretend that they chose a home warranty 2 weeks in, right? You didn't know at the beginning of the transaction, they decided to pick a home warranty. Maybe you have a couple emails and texts that go out if they choose a home warranty. So you could have a bunch of triggers here that says, if home warranty is checked yes, go ahead and send this email out to the buyer saying, here's how you choose a home warranty. Here's a couple recommended warranty companies. Maybe you have an email go out to the escrow officer letting them know to make sure that placeholder is going to be there on the settlement statement, and they're not, producing a final settlement statement before they put on that home warranty if they don't get the invoice. Maybe there's a text that goes out to the agent saying, hey, agent, your client or your buyer is choosing a home warranty. Please help them if they need assistance. There's a million things you could do, right? Just off of that one field being checked. So this is where the automation comes in, is now you come over here to home warranty. You say, yes, they want to explore doing a home warranty. As soon as you change that field to yes, now you could have a bunch of emails and texts and fields and documents and all kinds of stuff contingent upon this. So in my case, what I would do is I would send an email to the buyer, like I said, giving them their choices. I would send a text to my agent notifying them that they are going to choose a home warranty. I would send an email to the escrow officer letting them know, make sure you don't finalize that settlement statement until we get you the invoice for the home warranty. I'm also going to add fields. I'm going to add other fields I may need to fill out about the home warranty. How much is the home warranty? Who's paying for the home warranty? Who's the supplier of the home warranty? I'm also going to add in documents that I might need. I might need to insert an invoice into my documents tab now. So I might have a template with just one document required for that home warranty. I also want maybe there's a task or a couple additional triggers I want to follow up on that later. So those may come into so as you can see, by just checking that one field, yes, you could have a dozen things happen to organize you and make sure the right emails are going out and the right text messages. So this is kind of the next level. What I would suggest is if you're exploring triggers, contact the support team, let them know that you'd love to explore this for a couple weeks and see if it's something that you're interested in. The other thing that I would do is go over to your tasks, and I would see like, how does this task transform into a trigger, right? So like email, sign contract to lender, all this could be automated. So instead of having it in a trigger here, or I'm sorry, in a task here, you could go create 3 different emails, one to the buyer agent, one to the title, and one to the lender, and then have different conditions on those. As soon as those conditions are met over in your triggers, it's going to let you know to send those emails. This way, you're not having to come to all your transactions every single day and look through all of your tasks, which gets very, very time consuming. Now the system is telling you when to do things instead of you telling it when to do things. And you can probably get rid of 95% of your tasks this way. I know I did in my business. There's only a few, maybe, I don't know, 5 to 8 tasks maybe now. And most of them are just reminders for the TC, so nothing slips through the cracks. They're just kind of a brain check, you know, here and there. So hopefully that answers your question. Oh, the other thing that I would mention, let me bring this up too. So, oops, sorry, still getting used to that Mac. Forget which buttons are which. Smart blocks. So smart blocks is another way to take your system to the next level. And if you're not familiar with smart blocks, let me go over to emails first and just show you real quick. For anyone on this call that's not familiar, this is a huge time saver. So right now, a lot of people will have emails and they'll say highlighted, you know, delete this if this happens, or add this if this happens, or do this or do that. You don't need to do that. You come in here and you create, hi, seller first name, congratulations, contract was accepted by all parties on, contract date comes in, my name is, your name comes in based on who the transaction coordinator in the file is. I'm the transaction coordinator for it, throws in the buyer agent name. Now here's my first smart block. This smart block is if there's a co-buyer agent on it. If there's a co-buyer agent on the property, you can see my condition here. Only if there's a co-buyer agent on the property, it's going to pop in the words after I'm the transaction coordinator for Bob Smith and Sally Smith. And then as you can see, there's already a period here. So it will put the period in after that. So now, and this is a very basic example. So is this one. I've sent all fully signed documents to your escrow officer and lender. If it's financing, then it's going to say and lender too. So now you can customize these emails. A lot of times people, when they hear about these smart blocks and triggers and things like that, they think that the automation is going to take the personal aspect out of the transaction. That's just not true. It's going to make you more personal because it's going to make you look like you really know what you're doing. And you're not going to have to spend 15 to 20 minutes on each email, deleting and adding and making sure it's perfect. You've already set these things up. And now you're telling it conditions. If there's a well on this property, add this paragraph. If there's septic, add this 2 sentences. If there's a financing, add these couple words here or there. It's going to make sure that you don't forget things. And it's going to make it look very personal and like you spend a lot of time on this for your client. The clients are going to appreciate all the information that you're giving them. So smart blocks can be bullet points. Like, I don't know if I have an example of some of my more advanced ones. Let me look and see if I can find one that's a little more advanced for you guys. Oh, this is another great example, actually. You could have, let's just delete this out. You could have 3 smart blocks in here, all of them different emails. So like if you have a choice field, one of your choices could trigger this smart block. The second choice could trigger this smart block, and the third choice could trigger this smart block. Inside of these smart blocks could be a complete email with different messaging depending on what choice they chose in that field, whether they accepted the property as is, whether they are asking for repairs, or if they want to cancel the property. There's a lot of different options you can do with these. I'm just trying to find one that's a little bit more robust, like some bullet points and stuff, so I can show you. I'm not going to be able to find one, I bet. Maybe next week. Maybe next week I'll try to put some effort into this and find one that's really good. Yeah, I just don't think I'm going to find it. Okay. Well, anyway, you get the gist of smart blocks. There's a ton of articles on that. If you go over to our help center and type in smart blocks, there's a really good one. It's old, but it's good. It's, let me see if I can find it here. Here it is. The one from November 2021, email templates, merge fields, and smart blocks. This goes into depth on how you can really enhance your email templates and use those smart blocks to save just a ton of time. So, okay. Well, I went a little more in depth than I thought I would on that, but hopefully that was good information for everybody. welcome Naomi, brand new to OTC. More recommendations for best videos to watch. Okay, so we gave you two. Definitely reach out to support at help@open2close, and they can give you some links to different videos that have been helpful on getting set up. Definitely look at that. Where were we? Over here. Definitely look at the webinar screen here and get involved in these group classes and watch, because these are going to take you through that setup. Those 8 classes are going to get your foundation in there really well, and it'll also show you what questions to ask. So the more you see, the more you're going to understand the program, the setup, and how it works, and how it's very templatized. And you're also going to know better questions to ask so that we can drill down into your individual business and set things up very custom for you. So as everybody should know by now, we have 100% customizable fields, which is a huge help because everyone's in different states and working at different workflows. And so having those custom fields is just, it's imperative, honestly, to run your business the way you want to run it. So that's kind of the backbone of the program. All right. Sarah, welcome. Let's see. Wondering about a fully automated version that I believe we heard about when we first signed up. We'd like to know if there's a demo for that and what it may look like. Yeah, so, the first step to the full automation is those triggers and the scale plan. We could definitely reach out to support. We could set up a call for sure on a deep dive into the scale plan and how to automate a lot of that. Now, you may be referring to something else too. There is some things that we're developing in the background that are going to take it even to the next level. But for right now, it's the triggerized, the property triggers, which are going to automate a lot of that, which I showed you. By changing one field, you can have 99 things happen. So yeah, definitely reach out to support. We can talk about setting up a call to go over triggers, and maybe I just do a webinar on it, honestly, because we've had a lot of people diving into those lately. So we'll see what the interest level is, and we'll decide on whether we want to do individual or group. All right. Also, is there a way to delete multiple document folders at once? That's a good question. Let's go in there and I'll show you kind of what your options are. So let me go back to Beverly. And let's go to documents. So as you can see, there's a lot of little shortcuts throughout the program. You don't have to click 15 times. There's a lot of ways to open up things and then just go right back to where you were. So just kind of watch out for those little shortcuts around. I'll show you a couple at the end if I remember. Okay, so you're talking about these folders, deleting these ones. No, unfortunately, there's not a way. You have to individually delete the folders. You can, multiple delete these, but you just can't do the folders all at once. That's a good suggestion, though. If you want to put that in the Idea Lab, we do have an Idea Lab up in the corner here. And you can go to the Idea Lab, and then you can put in your idea, put any notes on it, and then we'll take a look at that every quarter, and we decide on what we're going to build. So great suggestion, though. Is there a way to duplicate the entire transaction and then make edits? We sometimes buy several properties in the same community that have a lot of the same details. Yeah, definitely. So a really easy way to do that. Let me just go into any transaction here. Just hit this button here. Okay, not this one. This is going to be your field groups, but this one over here, and then there's a duplicate right here. So I can duplicate this property. It's going to tell me what's going to get duplicated, and I can hit duplicate. So a lot of people use that for different reasons, but yeah, that's a great use case for it if you're working on the same type of transactions. Can you add a task list based on a contract status change? Yeah, absolutely. So let me read the whole question because it was just part of it. But as in when I change the contract status to be terminated, can I add 2 tasks to get certain forms signed, sent up? Yeah, definitely. So that's a great suggestion. And actually, when I change this from active to, let's say cancel, it's actually going to say, hey, do you want to delete these one sheets? Because you don't want these one sheets going out anymore unless you have some different process. Do you want to delete all the uncompleted tasks? Do you want to delete all the tasks? Do you want to remove the dates from the calendar? Like, you can do all of these things. Now, the second stage to this, Craig, would be to set up a task. I don't know what plan you're on. So I don't think you're on the scale plan. I think we talked about it. You're looking at that for the future. So, so what you would do is come in here and create a task, and you would create a task trigger. And so you create a task for terminated. Just don't put a date on it, right? You can pin it to the top if you want, or you can just leave it at the bottom or wherever. Let's go ahead and just add that. Now terminated is down here in the unscheduled. These would be things that could or may not happen, right? And so then in this terminated, obviously you do this in your templates. You wouldn't want to do it in a transaction like I am right now. But in your templates, you're going to want to create trigger. And when this task is complete, I want a task template to be added. So then I would come over here and I would choose my template. So let's just pretend this is the, these closing tasks are actually the canceled or expired or terminated, as you referred to it as. Let's just pretend that that's what this is. And then you're going to say add. You can also say remove, right? So instead you could say, hey, take out my initial tasks or whatever. But let's just use this for now. We're going to turn this on. And then, so we have a template here. And then you can put your details in here, whatever you need to put in here. But that's the way you would do it. Now, when it terminates, unless you're on the scale plane, you're not going to be able to do it from the actual field. You'd have to come over here and do it here, terminated. And then in this terminated, you may have an email go out and a text go out and another email go out and a template get added and maybe some extra fields you need to fill out for why it was terminated. And all these different things can happen automatically just by checking this task complete. Now, if you're on the scale plan, much easier. Now you can just come in here and make your condition if status equals terminated, then I want to do all of these things, right? So let me just open this one up. So into your options, you would have if property field status, contract status is equal to, we're going to use canceled in this case. There you go. So if this is canceled, it's going to tell you to send this email, and you can create a bunch of these under the canceled. So you could have 15 emails go out, 10 texts, 15 templates get added, 15 templates get removed, fields coming in, fields going out. You could have all kinds of stuff going on. And the only thing it's contingent upon is it changing to canceled. Now, I would say one thing if you're doing this and you only have one condition. Just my personal preference, and maybe I'm a little too conservative on this, but I always have two conditions because I don't want a TC coming in here and accidentally changing it to canceled for a second. Like they come in here and they're like, I want to make it contingent. Oops, and they accept this. And then they're like, oh shit, I just changed it to canceled. Well, all that stuff just went to your health bar. Now there is a way to reverse that stuff. But it's a little time consuming because you have to delete out those emails. So a lot of the times what I'll say is, hey, it got changed to canceled and something else. Maybe there's a cancellation date you put in there or something like that. If both of those are changed, then it triggers this action. So just something to think about. You don't have to. If you're super careful, you can definitely do one. I get a little worried that, it's going to cause me more time than it's worth if someone accidentally chooses it when they weren't supposed to. So, okay. Can you add a task list based on a contract? Oh, that's the one I just answered. I apologize. For file roles, can you have a file role as a folder or multiple documents? Example would be repair receipts for agreed upon repairs. If I have 4 receipts, can I attach all 4 to an email using a file role? The answer to that's yes. Let me finish the question. Or would I need to create a few different file roles to attach? Nope. You can do it either way, Craig, but honestly, I think the way that you said first is the best way. You would say, I'm going to use a different example. Let's say, yeah, repair receipts is fine. So you just have a repair receipts photos folder, right? And then in here, you'd have one in the main folder and you'd have the rest in the additional files. Okay. So you'd upload, maybe there's 40 pictures, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's just assume there's only 10. All of them would have the file role on it for repair photos, right? Over in your template emails, what you're going to do is you're going to come into your, what am I doing? Email templates. Yeah, sorry, forgot. My brain went blank on me. Down here, what you're going to do is you're going to say, I want to add all, okay, the file role repair photos, which I probably don't have. I don't know why that's weird. I'll have them look at this. Oh, there, repair photo. Okay, here's the part you want to pay attention to. matches the main file. The main file is just the one that shows up when you click on that over in documents. Matches any file. That means it's going to be all the additional files under that as well. Okay. So you're going to choose matches any file, not just the main folder. So just to reiterate on that, what it's going to do is go over to your documents, and let me just go to the documents really quick. Oh, I don't even know if this folder has any documents. Okay, yeah, it does. So repair request, like I said, this is the main file, excuse me. And under here, all the rest of the pictures. And now not only is it just going to look at that main file, but it's going to look at all these additional files too. And it's going to put all 10 of those in there. Now, if you wanted to, I think it would be not a great idea, but you could have a repairs doc folder and then you could assign the same file role to each of these. I just, that seems like a lot of work that you don't need to do. So hopefully that was helpful. Go ahead and post a follow-up if you have further questions on that, but really easy to do. Is there a phone number where we can talk to someone about migrating our TC workflow to open to close? We have a difficult time since we set up an open to close account last year. I haven't used it and now cannot find the option to migrate. Yeah, sure. You learn, you know what to do. Just email help@opentoclose.com. Describe exactly what you're describing right now. And we will, what I would suggest is opening up a new account. If you haven't done anything with that old account from last year, I would go ahead and have support team delete out the emails from that account for you, and then open up a brand new account and go, they told us to log into this webinar. Hilarious. Okay, then I apologize. Let me just go. What I would do is open up a brand new account. Okay. And if you have emails in there, you're going to have support, the support manager actually go ahead and delete those emails out so you can reuse those emails. But I would just open up a brand new one and go through that onboarding process again. And at the end, because there's no way for us to like, there's a really difficult way for both us and you to do it. A much easier way would be to open up a new account. Can you pop in here and just let me know if you guys have done any development on that account, or if it was a year ago and you guys just kind of didn't really do anything? Okay, let's see. We just tried to start a new account by canceling our old account. Perfect. So did that work for you? Just let me know if it worked for you. And if not, we can go in and I'll get the other emails deleted out so that you can add the emails that you want.
Hey, Andrew, I just want to jump in there. Yeah, if you've already gone past the onboarding in making a new account, that migration tool, just the way it works, is actually part of the onboarding. So if you've gotten past it, it's basically too late. You'd have to make a new account. However, I do have the access. I'll go ahead and get that email freed up for you right now, and then you should be able to create a new account and get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
And let the team know just for migrating to make sure they're just emailing me and not having people pop on here. I mean, this is a great place to come for other questions, but just that's an easier thing for me and you to handle. So, all right, cool. I apologize, Lauren, for you kind of getting the run around there. We'll make sure the staff is clear on where to direct people on that migration in the future.
And if you still run into some issues, you know, you create the new account, you make the migration, but you're still having some issues, we can definitely talk about maybe setting up something to go through and just look at that migration guide and maybe talk about getting you into open to close and kind of smoothing out the transition a bit as well.
All right, let me see in here too. See if there's any, I know there's some migration stuff in here too. Okay, so migrating your content. Once you open up that new account, this article right here is going to kind of guide you through how to do it, and with some little GIFs and things like that. So, and it's going to tell you exactly what's coming over. So make sure you look up this article as well. Just type in migrate and it'll pop right up. So, okay. Is there a way to receive email or other notification when an agent uploads a document to the property through the portal? Not this time, just because it could be a cluster of so many freaking email. Email is triage, right? Like, I hate email. We're trying to get rid of email through our messaging system, and we have some updates coming up to that in the future. But it's really hard when you're getting 200 emails a day of junk and then another 200 emails of transactional stuff to actually get through that. So I understand the need and what you're saying here. So maybe we can think of some way to help with that. Honestly, right now, the way it happens is these come in as unapproved documents, and then over here in your dashboard, you can move these unapproved documents up to like the top, and it's going to show you any documents that came in from agents that aren't approved yet. So that's the best way to handle it now. God, I just hate email. Trying to think of another way. So maybe we can brainstorm on that, and but definitely put it in the idea lab. We'll take a look at it and brainstorm through that. I just hate to add additional emails to people. I'd rather have some other kind of notification. I know in the future when we upgrade our mobile app, we can definitely do some push notifications and things like that. And maybe it's just a separate setting that you can turn on email, because I know if we just turned it on for everyone, it would probably annoy 50% of people and 50% would be happy, and we're never going to please everyone. So maybe that just needs to be a additional setting or something like that. Okay, sometimes I get error messages that a document can't be split. I can probably tell you what that's going to be. Currently doing a print to PDF and re-uploading, but wondering if there's any other fixes. Yeah, no, there's no other fixes. So that's the way that some programs spit them out. They spit them out as a secure document. And so if they're secured from like a DocuSign or whatever, you have to print a PDF to get them. And unless there's another way I don't know about, but that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years, honestly. There's just no way to circumvent that security mode on there, unless they're printed to a PDF, and basically it's just kind of taking a snapshot of that and making it unsecure. So I apologize, but I go through the same thing. I wish there was like a program or something we could put on here to automatically unsecure the document if you want it to. Like, hey, do you want to unsecure this document and just hit the button? That'd be great. I haven't seen anything like that. I haven't seen any abilities to do that through any software. If anyone knows about that, definitely let me know. That'd be a really cool addition.
If you do have Adobe, you should be able to unsecure documents, PDFs in Adobe. But that's kind of a pricey way to get documents unsecured. I've also run into this issue before as well. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for any kind of extensions or software that, might be secure that you guys could use. But
yeah, Fox,
I know that issue.
I use, what do I use? Can't even remember the PDF program I use. But anyway, there's tiny PDF. There's a ton of them out there that will unsecure. It's just it's a pain in the butt, honestly, to have to go through that extra step. But it's not us or any other system that you're using. It's just the document secure, and that's just what we can do. Okay, so someone can grab that phone number in there. And
yep. Awesome.
Okay, we are out of questions. What are we at? 11:35. So we blew through that. Got a couple more people on here now. That's good to see. Anything else you guys are struggling with? Anything? I mean, you want to talk about whatever, I'm game. We're happy to go through whatever you guys are struggling with, whatever you want to enhance. If you think that there's an easier way to do things. One thing I will mention is this button right here. A lot of people just haven't noticed this. This is a great way in this transaction. If I'm in 4567 Boise and I want to, change a field, but I don't want to go all the way through the transaction and have to come back out of it. You can just click on this details, and there you go. There's all the fields. If I wanted to manage my fields, I can manage them. If I wanted to, let me see, what's another good one? Go to documents. I can pull up my documents. So these fields are great or these pop-ups are great because you can do something with the document and close it, and you're right back to where you were, and you didn't have to go into the transaction, all the way back out of the transaction. Another thing is this history button. If you've already been in this transaction today, it's going to be listed right here. So don't go and search for it somewhere. Just hit history, click on that, and you're right back in. Another thing that I see that people never, or not never, but sometimes don't realize is the ability to, where am I at here? Default and settings. Okay, so let me go back there. So it's this button over here to the right, default and settings. If you scroll down here, it's going to say, where is it? Oh, here it is. Default details tab. So every time I open up this transaction, if I want it to go to the details on the fields, my field details, or my field commission, or my field listing, this is what's going to open every single time you open this property. Now, the communication tab is even better, because if I'm going to tasks every single time, I don't want it to open up the messaging or emails. I want it to go to tasks. So let's just say I want documents. I can change this to documents, and that has been set as the default page. So now if I go back out of this, and we'll end on triggers, right? And we're going to come back in 4567 Boise. And when I open that up now, it's going to open up to my documents. So that's a nice little feature. Most people are going into tasks. So Tasks or documents are the two that people typically kind of default that to, and then default to your details, because that's usually your main fields that you're doing. So that's a little tip that a lot of people don't know. In this menu, actually, the whole thing, manage property fields. If you click on that, you can add or subtract fields. You can remove sections. You can do a bunch of stuff. Apply a property template. You can go to the default and settings that I showed you. Add, like if you forgot to put the date template in, or you don't have it automatically triggering from your intake forms, you can set those. Search fields, and come in here and say, hey, I'm trying to, like, say you just have like 200 fields over there and you just want to look for closing date. You can just start typing it. It's going to come up. You can actually edit it from right here, and then you can close this down and you're right back to where you were. Duplicate the transaction, which we talked about earlier. Delete the transaction. Be really careful with that one. Refresh the property, refresh the details, and there is a little tour here if you're brand new to the program that'll kind of walk you through some little things here and just describe what these are. So that's there. So a lot of people miss that little button there. One other thing that I don't know is released yet. I apologize. I've been at conferences, and so I'm not sure on the development schedule here. Maybe Matthew can enlighten us. I don't think it is, but over in emails now, we're not only able to use this property email address for documents. Well, I shouldn't say now, I should say in the future. This is one of the things we're releasing if we haven't already. There's a thing here called property emails. And now you're going to be able to see all the emails that were sent. And we will be getting a default setting that says, do you want to copy this email on every single email that you send out of the system? It's going to be really helpful for when people reply all, their email is going to come back in here. So you don't have to go to Google if you don't want to. You're going to see the whole string of emails and all the attachments and everything. There still are some formatting things that we're working out. So, but it's there, and hopefully it's super helpful for people. So.
Yeah, and that should be released live, so everybody should have it. If you're not seeing it, maybe reach out to support, let us know. We can take a look, but it should be available to everyone at this point. Okay.
Hey, if someone wants to make a note or just email me right now and just let me know that I need to make a video and post that up on our Facebook group, that'd be great, because I don't think that when I haven't showed anyone this yet. So. Okay, I used to have to BCC myself when I migrated. That BCC fell off. How do I add it back? Oh, well, there you go. I just talked about it and didn't even realize it. So you can not actually. So you want to BCC yourself. So this is going to be a property email that actually brings it back in. But if you want to BCC yourself, and this is a little painstaking, so I'm going to apologize in advance, but we don't have the same feature as TCWorkflow. What we have, though, is something I think is better if you're setting it up new. Obviously, it's going to be, like I said, a little painful for you. But in your email templates, what you can do is come in here to CC, and then you would have to be added on every transaction. And you can be automatically added to every transaction through a connection. But what we would do is put you in as like team owner or head TC or whatever your title is, right? And then we would put you as a BCC or a CC, whichever you want. And we would create a role for you. Let's say it's team owner. And then that would be checked on every single email that goes out of the system. And that way you're copied on all that. Just out of curiosity, why do you want to be BCC'd on all the transactions? What's your position, and why would you want to be BCC'd on everything? I'd love to know that, just so that we can work our program better and maybe make a couple improvements that would, satisfy more of our customers. What would be the purpose of, I have the same question, Craig. So that's what I just said. Why would you BCC yourself? Maybe there's a good reason here that we're not thinking of. I know some people, what they'll do is they'll create like a dummy Gmail account, like I don't know, whatever, 123abc at gmail.com. And then they copy every single transaction email over there kind of as a holding tank. I mean, I have a Google account, so I control all the emails that come in and out from my team. If someone gets fired, the first thing that happens is they get disabled from the Google account, which now they don't have access to Open to Close and Google and Loom and everything else we use. Like, it just totally kills them. And so I think a Google Workspace account is a good way to do it if you're doing that other account. So, okay. Courtney says, I'm a one-man shop. I also have to send all correspondence into SkySlope once a transaction closes. Plus, I like to make sure that it's there. Let's see, is a request in the email that I make sure it gets completed? Sure. New to OTC, use TCWorkflow. Okay. So I would say, yeah, you could do it here, but you're also going to have all those emails, those property emails coming back in. So you're going to have everything right in open to close. And if you're using Google as your API, you're going to also have those emails in Google. Like they're not, if you're using our API, all we're doing is sending it to Google and saying, hey, Google, can you send this email? And then it's sending from your account. We're just a conduit to get it over to Google to send. So I don't know if people understand how that works with that API, but basically we are a conduit to get it to Google so that Google can send that email so that when you go over to your Google account and you go to Sent and you go to all these different places, you're going to see these emails. So it's super helpful and you're going to have a record of everything. You don't need to re-BCC yourself if you're using Google or Microsoft. And now if you're using SendGrid, if you're like on at yahoo.com or something like that and you're using SendGrid, which I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you pay the $6 a month to get a workspace account and Google, and you're going to have so much more functionality with calendars and email and Google Drive and all that. So if anyone on this call is not using Workspace, I would highly, highly recommend it. I just think it's, you know, you're going to get a more professional look anyway with a custom domain, and you're going to have a lot more deliverability with your emails. So SendGrid sometimes will go to spam. Using the Google API is just like sending from your Gmail account. So, or, you know, Gmail, Google Workspace, I use that interchangeably. So, all right.
There has been quite a number of updates to Google security as well. So if you end up not using an API, you know, you end up using SendGrid to send it out. When you actually, Andrew, if you want to show in the system where to go to add in Google Workspace, if you're not using the Google Workspace and you're not using Microsoft and you just sending or adding in an email and sending it out from there, the deliverability for that is really, really low. But you're going to head down to that gear icon. You're going to go to Apps and API. And then here you can either connect your Google or you can connect your Microsoft, whichever makes sense. We do have a video kind of going through showing you the steps for it. And again, we do have those webinars coming up. We do have a webinar where we're focusing specifically on integrations. So we're going to be talking about how to connect your Gmail, how to connect your Microsoft, and then how to connect to SkySlope or Dotloop, Brokerman, FaultBoss, all the other good stuff too. So if that is of interest, we have that there as well.
All right, we got 15 more minutes. Anyone has any? Oh, sorry, my phone is ringing on my computer. I forgot to put it in focus mode here. Okay, so any other questions? 15 minutes left. Go ahead and pop those in. If I don't get any more questions in the next couple of minutes, we'll go ahead and end early. If we do end early, I appreciate everyone being on here. I know we had a really small crowd today, so there wasn't a ton of questions, but they were good questions. All of them were very good, and I like to see everyone progressing in the system and asking about some of that automation, because I think that's where everyone needs to have their head for the future. The more I get out to these conferences, the more I talk to these big brokerages and big software companies out there, the more they are trying to, I wouldn't say they're trying to eliminate your job, but it's going to be a hazard of being a TC, is that there's more automation coming and there's more people offering this for really low prices to recruit people to their brokerages and things like that. So the more automated and the better high touch system that you can create by saving time on the day-to-day minutia and spending that time with your clients to build those relationships so that they don't bounce when brokerages are offering TC work for $100. You know, all of that is super important. So the more you can automate to get off your plate the minutia while keeping that personal touch and those relationship-based businesses, I think you'll be well served in 2 or 3 years when all of this AI starts hitting the market even more heavy than it is right now. So, okay, cool. No questions. We're gonna go ahead and bounce. Am I here next week? Let me think. April 12th. No, I'm not here. So the team will take over. I will be at the YLOPO conference. If anyone uses YLOPO and they're at the mastermind in Vegas, hit me up through email, Andrew at Open to Close. Love to have lunch with you or something. Yeah, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. And thanks for being here. I appreciate everyone. Have a good day.